Hello and welcome to Scorecard here on Citi TV. I am Bernardo Bekwaju. Well, know that it's been a week that's been filled with a lot of action. Well, Mohammed Kudus have taught Ghanaians at large, and of course the football enthusiasts, how money is spent. For Manchester United, it was not that week that they expected to see. But there's a lot also from Chelsea we have to talk about this evening. We'll talk about a lot of things that will intrigue you. We'll move into the French Ligue 1. We'll talk about what is going to happen or what has happened already in the Italian Serie A. Of course, the German Bundesliga. We're zooming into Spain. There's a lot from that space as well. But first, we'll talk about the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup here on Scorecard, plus a mint in the Ghanaian Premier League. So I'll take a quick break. When I return, I'll introduce you to my guest. Well, welcome to Scorecard once more. I am Bernardo Bekwaju. My guests are here seated in the studio. I have on my immediate right, Susu Graham. Susu, welcome. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
That's solid. And of course, Dennis Nyoku. Dennis, how are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm a miracle. How's the period treating you? The festive season? Smooth?
I'm just enjoying the Kudus mania, basically.
Oh,
so, I know it's an expense of United fans, yeah, but it's great times to be Ghanaian when you watch.
Which team do you sympathize with?
I'm actually a blue.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan.
You have a sad.
So we are actually bleeding. We are bleeding really hard, but we've got no choice.
I guess Chelsea or maybe Manchester United and Chelsea are direct siblings. Like just close, maybe a first and a second.
We are both underperforming.
Yeah.
High. So yes, yeah.
Quite, that's not what we expected this season. I mean,
unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, so for you, I guess you've had a thriller of a festive period.
Oh, I've been enjoying small.
Yeah, when I observed since, the last time we met, I saw that, the action alone you showed.
Oh, don't shout.
Okay, guys, we'll first talk about the CAF Confederations Cup. It was Medeama who were, in Tanzania. They met Yanga, unfortunately. Just unfortunately, we did not see the Medeama that we used to know. I've watched them at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, prior to preparing for the CAF Champions League. We all expected something awesome from them, but, it was just not what we all wanted in a club that is representing Ghana at that level in the CAF Champions League. So we go into the highlights of the game between Medeama and Young Africans. Young Africans trashed Medeama by 3-0. Let's pick the highlights. We'll be back for more discussion here in the studio. It's interesting, isn't it? What you watched is just, you can't put words together in what you saw. That's Medeama, the Ghanaian champions who are, in the CAF Champions League, and they were expected to deliver. Let me begin with you, Graham. The minute errors that these guys committed, it's unpardonable, in defense for me.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, but it's a lack of experience. We've spoken so much about how our Ghanaian teams have struggled to make the group stage, and now we have two, one in the CAF Confederations Cup, one in the CAF Champions League. And you can see that there's a few things that a few little details that they're just not there yet. Dreams are doing very well, but that lack of experience is what is showing. And they just spoke about Yanga not being a powerhouse. They don't regularly win group stage games, and Medeama made it easy for them. If you look at the goals that Yanga scored, where was the it didn't look hard for them. It didn't look like they had to struggle for the goals. The third goal was the worst of all. They were kind of trying to play from their back. You're already 2 goals, and I think maybe you're frustrated and lack of communication. Even so, after the second goal, the keeper going to berate the defender. So it's just a bit messy for them, but luckily for them, the group is quite tight. There's no one who's really pulled away and shown that they're a top team in the group. I believe they are bottom with 4 points, but I believe Al Ahly are first with 5. So there's still a lot of, scope for them to do or scope for them to get the points. And then they have one more home game to play. If they get a result there, you can see something for them. So I believe they still have a chance, but it's been difficult, and it's understandable why. It's not easy to be in Africa for the first time. So we'll give them kudos, and we expect them to kind of build on that, hopefully. And for me, I prefer for them to win the league this season so they can build on the experience. Because if a new team wins the league, maybe if Dreams win, because Dreams have the CAF Confederations Cup, but if a new team wins, this experience is gone.
Absolutely.
Another new team has to now go and get the experience, play through the qualifiers. So I would hope they do well in the league or win the cup so that they can go back in Africa and use these lessons to do better.
Great. Now, I saw you shake your head, Dennis.
Yeah.
Jonathan Soa. Now, prior to this, I'm sure he knew that his name is already in the Black Star squad, the 55-man provisional squad. Released. I don't know. What's your take on that? The penalty.
So I shook my head because I watched them in the previous game where they played at home against this Tanzanian side, and I said to myself that there was no way they're going to win in Tanzania. Yes, because there was so much inexperience even showed in that first game. Jonathan Soa himself was profligate in front of goal. There were some chances he should have taken, he didn't take them. And even the way they handled the match, you realize that was a game they were supposed to win.
Absolutely.
So going to Tanzania where it's going to be a different environment where they have to play, because normally when you go to these away games, the first 30 minutes, the kind of intensity you will get from those first minutes.
Yeah.
Then when you're not able to absorb it properly and you concede early, because I think they conceded in the 33rd minute, and I knew that then when they conceded that goal and the way they were playing, it was obvious they're going to concede again before halftime, and that's exactly what happened. So there was a lot of deficiencies in their game. I was very disappointed because I expected them to lose, but then I didn't expect them to capitulate like that because the game had everything. They had
the group. You'd want to know, just like Susu mentioned, it's super close.
Yes. So I'm saying, so when you have groups like that, I expect you to make the best out of your home games. And I don't think they've done that because in the previous game they were actually very poor. I expect them to win that game because they had chances to win. And I'm saying Jonathan Soa himself was a typical example. I think he should have buried some of the chances he had in the home matches.
And because the penalty to make it 1-1.
I mean the penalty.
Because you don't blow if you don't get chances like this and waste it. That's why when you've traveled to Tanzania where it's a very hostile environment and you get a chance like you don't make it happen. So like you said, I think the inexperienced part is very obvious. I don't expect them to go far in this competition, to be honest. I've watched them play, and I think there are so many deficiencies in their game that will not propel them to make it in this group.
And conceding a lot of goals, I mean, is a problem. You mentioned that, and it places them down the pecking order on the table. But then the points margin, it is 5-5-4, and it can be anyone's game, especially knowing that they have a game here, at home at the Babaya Sports Stadium.
I believe they are playing Al Ahly, correct? If I'm correct.
Absolutely.
That's not an easy game.
For me personally, is the reason why I felt that I expected them to gain points in the preview, because playing Al Ahly is going to be very difficult, and I struggle to see how they'll go past.
They're the Real Madrid of Africa.
Exactly. And if you are capitulating in front of Yanga, then I wonder what's going to happen when they meet Al Ahly. So it's going to be hard for them, to be honest. They might pick up lessons from this tournament, but I think that they should have made better use of it.
What are those crucial lessons that you think they should pick from this? I mean, I saw Che, the goalkeeper, as well, and it looked like he was not himself. It was just
even in the previous game, this Zuzua, for instance, was a constant threat to them in the previous game, and I expect that they should have known some of these things, because you could say that the pressure from the Yanga team was something they couldn't handle. So I felt that in the first 30 minutes, I expected them to be very resolute and try not to concede before the halftime. So the moment the goals started pouring in when they conceded in the 33rd minute, I knew that they were basically just going to give in and concede again. So then when they went into halftime 2-0 down, I didn't feel they had that mental fortitude to come back from a 2-0 lead, especially playing playing Tanzania. So it was always going to be a loss, but as to how they capitulated like this, I was surprised.
Interesting. So Medeama will be playing at the Babaya Sports Stadium against Al Ahly on the 24th, and we'll be keeping a keen eye on that. That's somewhere next year. So we'll be watching that with keen attention. We'll tell you what transpires in our subsequent shows, and of course when we sit down again to discuss some of these matters. Now we have the opportunity to again move on into the CAF Confederations Cup, where interestingly it was I don't know, but maybe it was a bit of a surprise for me for Dreams FC beating Academica de Lobito by 4-0 in the CAF Confederations Cup. Let's pick this highlight when we're back. We'll discuss more. So welcome you to Scorecard here on Citi TV. I am Bernardo Beko. Now, interestingly, what you watched is Dreams FC up against Academica de Lobito. And de Lobito, didn't show anything that's of a professional. I mean, they have no point.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. Yeah, you said you were surprised by Dreams. I mean, everybody in the group is getting wins against them.
Now, my focus was on that chap who scored, a few meters from the center line. That was marvelous.
It was a very good goal. Very good goal. And like we said, the opposite of what Medeama are doing is what Dreams are doing. they've done what they needed to do. I mean, 9 points from 4 games is very impressive. You have 1 home game left, 1 away game. I believe that there are qualifications in their hands. They are flying their flag high, and we can say that okay, maybe it's the secondary competition. Medeama have a harder task. Let's be fair. I mean, Medeama are playing better teams. That's why they're in the CAF Champions League and then the CAF. But it's still impressive what they are doing. And considering the lack of success we've seen from Ghanaian teams in Africa for the last 10 years has it been?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Look, this is a breath of fresh air. It's lovely to see, and congratulations to Dreams FC. They should keep going, keep flying the flag.
Amazing. They are second. I love how you concluded it. It makes it super beautiful. You know, they are second with 9 points, and I mean it's just goal difference that are separating them from the guys on top. What's your take? You know, from what you watched.
A very dominant display. I was impressed by how they played. Of course, they are not. They are playing like the whipping boys of the group. But then it's football. You've seen circumstances where matches that are supposed to go this way have made probably you actually expect them to win, and it so happens that maybe some miracles in football do happen. So the fact that they took their opportunity and they were able to win, go past them by 4 goals, so a very dominant display. I think they did so well. I was actually amazed by Aziz's goal from just close to the center line. I think that was, for you to be able to have that vision, to be able to see your goalkeeper up the line and lob him like that, I think it's something that has to be commended.
So one time he didn't even.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, I think that's very smart.
3 steps away from the center.
I normally appreciate players like that. It's about smart thinking, and sometimes when a player is able to do that in those moments, you should be able to appreciate that. So I feel they have taken charge of they've not taken charge of the group, yes, but then they've I think 9 points out of 2 after a possible 12.
Yeah.
I think that's commendable. They could be in a secondary competition, but they are still trying to get in their points and win their games. So I feel Dreams are on a good course. Sharp contrast to what Medeama is doing, but I think as at this moment they are the one who seems to be the shining light for our clubs.
The goal, you think it can be the goal of the group? I mean, all the group matches could just win that.
Well, that's, I mean, any competition, if you score a goal like that, you're already in the for goal of the competition. It's a given.
Absolutely.
So he's definitely going to be up there. So let's hope he's one of the players they consider for the.
And again, let's hope that goal gingers them, to be able to come and display, some good football. That'll be against Club African.
Yeah.
Here at the Baba Sports Stadium.
That'll be a tough game.
Very, very tough one.
But look, if they win that game, I think they're in a very good position.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dreams is doing what Medeama is not doing. Medeama seem to be, their group seem to, if you watch the group, if you've not watched them play before, you might think that they are doing well, but with the goals they considered in the game we just watched, it's not what every Ghanaian will speak well of.
But on the lighter note, it was good to see the Kudus trademark celebration being done.
Yeah, these infinitives for the 4th Dreams players have started doing Kudus celebrations.
Yeah, I mean it's great to push out. Now the mention of the Kudus bit will come to that. I want us to go into the Accra Great Olympics, Accra Hearts of Oak game. Let's watch this highlight. We'll be back. So that's our Ghana Premier League. Accra Hearts of Oak. I mean, Great Olympics, Accra Hearts of Oak. And it is strangely at the Babaya Sports Stadium because we've got to dance at the Accra Sports Stadium. I tell you what, it's interesting. But I mean, from the highlights that we watched, I mean, that will be a topic for another day. Great Olympics, Accra Hearts of Oak. The two teams seem to be struggling, just like Manchester United and Chelsea. One is following the other.
For me, it's painful to talk about Hearts of Oak when you see them in a situation like me. I grew up in the era of Ishmael Ado and Don Bote when I was a kid. So to come and see that Hearts of Oak, what Dreams and Medeama are doing and what we expect of Hearts of Oak, and they're here struggling in mid-table. Every day they are something. We've spoken about nice things. Let's not ruin the show by talking about not nice things. It's Christmas. Let's talk about things we enjoy. Because I don't think any of us enjoyed that. The pitch, we always complain about our pitch. The quality wasn't really there. So let's just say something small and then we'll move on to the nice things. It's Christmas after all. So
interesting how Graham puts it. Strange, isn't it? But okay, well, that's fine. I'll take that. Dennis, I mean, what's your general take on that game?
Charlie, honestly, it's depressing to be watching as a football. It's depressing. You see?
Don't know.
You see why? Because if I align with what you said.
But they have fine
Is
players.
he aligning
They have
what he said?
fine
Because
players.
because you know, I'm asking.
When they
Because
were
you
in
see-
a relegation battle last season, we saw that.
I'm watching.
Absolutely.
Is that Hasselhoff? You watch the game, you realize that a lot of things have changed.
I mean, from the jersey they wore, that's also folk.
That cannot be Hasselhoff. This is not Hasselhoff. Look at this drop performance. You see, I watch.
What's the problem? Is it a change in coaches of?
There, if like you said,
It's a model strategy, to be honest. It starts from the top. If every season you have 2-3 coaches, I think the first thing was when the whole Samuel Boadu thing happened. I think the club still has not recovered.
Exactly.
Wow.
I feel like fair enough performances had gone down under him, but there's someone who had won, was it 5 or 6 trophies? Sorry for cutting you off. He had won 5 out of 6 trophies or whatever.
Absolutely,
it was.
yeah.
And you decide that you sack him in a rush. If you are sacking him,
Because
you
he
should bring
does not speak
someone.
good English.
If you are sacking him,
That's
That's ridiculous.
Whatever the reason, whatever the reason is,
ridiculous.
if you are sacking him, you should bring someone at least who's about 80%,
Exactly.
70% of his quality. And all they brought in, we see it's just
I
been.
mean, they went close to Dr. Prosper Natio currently at Kumasi as Antikotoki, who he never wanted.
Listen, has had the best chance to kickstart at a certain time when Samuel Boadu was around. It was the best time for Hasselhoff to reboot because he had brought back those memories where, like he said, those days where Hasselhoff were very dominant in Africa.
The league for how
And
many
yes,
years?
and all of a sudden, and even beyond the points he was gaining, there was massive interest in Hasselhoff again. People who were not watching Hasselhoff were going to the stadium to go and watch
Absolutely.
Hasselhoff again. So there was renewed interest. And come on, the results were there. He won the FA Cup. It was obvious that he was gaining points. He was improving the team. And just when he needed support from the team, it was surprising to see that the best thing they could have done was to get rid of him. And I'm sorry, and his sent back has backwards.
Okay.
It's more like we had to go back to those days where we were basically struggling. And I'm saying we because I'm a huge Hasselhoff fan. And watching Haas now is very depressing because they are struggling to, even if you watch the team, they are struggling to score goals. It's something, I know that the whole league is deprived of
What
goals.
is the problem?
And you watch how Haas play, there's no, just what the highlights. There's no creativity.
Nearly all the chances are from
you
long throws,
long throws,
kick,
and there's no
corner.
constructive way Haas is playing. And in fact, they've had issues where Hamza Issa, who is not, I think he has scored 5 goals the whole season.
Absolutely.
And now they brought in a new striker from Ivory Coast,
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
Kasim
Yeah, the new
Sisi.
one.
You can see
And he's the one. He's more like
you see, they just want to throw the ball and then just.
and from what he's the one supposed to come and rescue us. No, it's like they're trying to do too many quick fixes, trying to get in players who it's serious because Has needs a structural change. There are so many things wrong with the team, and this has folk team. So the last time when we're going to play, Has was going to play Kotoko in the Super Clash. I said it that this is not a mid-table match. This is not a Super Clash, because Has folk at this stage is a mid-table team, and that's a fact. Because what you saw today is there are features of a mid-table team. Like you said, what Medeama is doing is what Has is supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
So we have there's supposed to be some restoration. I feel that they missed the chance when Samuel Boadu was around to get back to those times, and they let it go. So I think it's about time that things change because where Haas is going, I hear people say that there's no way Haas is going to get relegated because of the fact that it's Hasselhoff, but this is football. From where Haas is going right now, don't be surprised where you're going to see a situation where Haas will be battling for relegation because that's where they're. Because the football is bad, the structure is bad, the players are bad because these are not Haas players. These levels are not supposed to be for Hasselhoff.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
it's unacceptable.
Let me take you out of this frustration. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we return, we can talk about, how you can sit and it becomes the center of attraction of the world. Football is glorious, isn't it? Let's go for this commercial break. When we return, there's more on Kudus. Hello and welcome to Scorecard here on Citi TV. I am Bernard Abeko-Otri, and we'll get to talk about what had transpired in the English Premier League. Interestingly, it is Mohammed Kudus who decides to always, put the icing on the cake. A special lad he is. We do not see him like that for our Black Stars, but that's not our concern. The moment he gets us to smile in that space, the brilliant it is. Let me start with you. Let me start with you, Dennis. Mohammed Kudus, he seemed to light West Ham up every single time he gets opportunity.
The thing about Kudus is that I never doubted his capabilities in coming to the league. I know it was a slow start. He came into a team where there was Paqueta Bowen and then Antonio at the front three, and he had to be Moyes had to be very patient with him to come in. He comes into the team and he's doing wonderful things. I'm not just loving his football. I'm loving the clouds. I'm loving the whole swag. The swag he's bringing into the game.
Absolutely.
The trademark celebrations. I like his confidence in front of the camera. He's doing it effortlessly, and I like the way he's been integrated into the team, because you see, there's been no question about the fact that he has this offensive side to his game where he takes on the ball, he's able to go past players. But what he's doing at West Ham is beyond that. The West Ham setup is in such a way where there's a low block and there's a counter-attacking system, where there's Paqueta and Bowen and then Kudus now. So they require the whoever the front three of mainly Paqueta and Kudus to always come back when they lose the ball. So the off the ball work is evident. And that's something I've admired about him, because he's really backing up Soufal in several situations and making that right side not just on the offensive third, but also being a defensive backup for him. So I've been impressed about the way he's able to defend as well, not just about moving forward, but actually helping his fullback. And that is something that has really impressed me about him. And you all know how it's difficult to come into the league. I've always maintained that. I've watched him at Ajax, I've watched him, and I realized that he's got natural talent. He's really good when it comes to taking his chances. And that's something that is pretty much brilliant, because it's not just about the fact that he's able to take the ball and go past players. It's about how productive he is in the final third. And his clinical rate is something that's actually amazed me, because if you watch the chances he's taken, trust me, that chance against Man United was not easy. It looks yes, maybe somebody could say that the Man United backline was more like a makeshift backline. So, but
you can only score the pool. You can only score the keeper that's in the pool.
Exactly. So his composure in front of goal and taking that chance was marvelous. And I've seen the goals he scored for West Ham. These are not easy goals. He requires a lot of composure. And I've been very impressed with how he's taking his chances, because it's not just about getting in there and trying to go past play, but he's taking his chances, and his finishing rate has been impeccable, trust me.
Talk about finishing rate. Yeah. I'll pause you there. We'll go for the highlights of that game. West Ham, Manchester United. Kudus Mohammed. Oh my goodness. And I'm intrigued about the way the commentator said game over. Graham.
For me, I think Mohammed Kudus, he started very well, and he especially scores at home. If I remember correctly, during the broadcast, they say he scored about 9 goals in his 12 home games or something like that. So it shows that when he's at the Olympic stage, the London Stadium, he shows out for the fans. And they love him. You go and sit on the boards, look, it's lovely to see. But I think we've been praising him a lot, so I have to balance it a bit with a little bit of criticism. I think because of the way he plays, the style he plays, that he gets the ball, he wants to go for it, he wants to go and shoot, it can have difficulty with coaches. And I think that's why he had issues at Ajax with some of the coaches not wanting to play, because they like a more tactical style. They want you to kind of pass and move, keep the ball, retain possession. If you are Kudus and you want to get the ball, make things happen, it might not be the best for a possession-based team. So a team like West Ham, where they'll sit deep, free you, and there's space in front of you, it works for you, because now the coach wants you to drive forward and make things happen. They are relying on you to use your brilliance to do it. So when people were saying you should have gone to Brighton instead, I always said that they were completely wrong. They were dead wrong, because this is a team that it actually suits his strengths more than a possession-based team where if he plays the way he plays and he loses the ball in midfield, you are dead. You see, so I believe it's a very good move for him. And when you play this way at a team like West Ham, especially considering the fact that West Ham, Europa League semi-final 2 years ago, Conference League winners last year. They are doing very well in the Europa League. I believe they won their group. They'll go far again. These are the things that get even bigger clubs more interested. And you are playing on the biggest shop window in the world. So it's only a matter of time before he's playing in the Champions League again. And this time it's not for Ajax. It's not for a smaller. It's going to be a huge team. It's going to be a very big team. It's going to be playing for next time the Champions League or the Super League. Depending on what.
But it's interesting. It seems West Ham seem to have 3 very good players, top class players, who they might struggle to keep, because if I watch the likes of Paqueta and see what he does with the football, trust me, that's not a West Ham level player.
That's why Man City came for him, and they kind of decided in the end that it was not the right time. So it was only a matter of time, and they will do well in Europe. So I'm excited to see what he does in the Europa League, because I believe West Ham are better suited to win it than Ajax. So I expect them to go far, and hopefully they can. I'll be supporting West. Actually, I'll be supporting AC Milan first as an AC Milan fan, and then I'll be supporting West Ham after.
Okay, brilliant. But for Manchester United, what seems to be happening?
You know, for that team, the issues are many. Trust me, because if I watch Manchester United,
prior to coming on the show, we heard that Ratcliffe is on board now. And
well, I believe that if he's going to be in full charge of the football operations, it's a good move because he has decent success with his football teams, and he's a more football-minded person. So I think it'll be a better use of resource because when you read about the chaos at Man U and the way things are being done, it's a very poorly run club, honestly. It's very poorly run. Right. So it's not a surprise. It's similar to the people the people down the road that we discussed recently. I won't mention names.
But let's move on and talk about Tottenham Hotspur up against Everton. Tottenham won by 2-1, and let's go for the highlight. So Everton got the advantage. Of course, there was a controversy with the VAR. I mean, Graham, I would want you to touch on the Richarlison celebration. Then Dennis, you tell me about the VAR and its decision. Let me
it was very interesting. If you noticed, as he started, he was kind of happy. Then he remembered he was an Everton player, so he former Everton.
But what does that mean? I mean,
I think he just didn't want to celebrate. He was happy to score. Then he realized that he can't be over exuberant because I think he didn't live under acrimonious circumstances. It was a very nice, they had a good time together and he left. So it would have been a bit, he'd have annoyed the fans a bit. But I believe these are two teams that are doing relatively well. I know for Everton, their place on the table is a bit deceptive because of the -10, of course. Yeah. But I think both teams are doing very well. They are meeting their expectations because everyone thought after Hurricane, they finished 8th last year. Yeah. So anything that else beyond 8th will be an improvement. And I believe they are certain to probably finish in the top 6. And Everton will survive comfortably. So I believe everyone is having the season they want in terms of Spurs and Everton. So I think they are both very happy.
Solid. Yeah. Dennis, I mean, you told me about that VAR, that incident. Was that a foul?
I think it's a foul. You see, the thing about this VAR is that at the end of the day, I felt that it was a very, in the sequence of events, it was one important part, and I think that there was a foul on him before the goal. So I believe that's
how they won the ball to score.
Exactly. So you can't question that. I don't think this is debatable. I've heard people say that.
Yeah, I mean the two coaches spoke about that.
Yeah, but so far that influenced the sequence of the goal, lead up to the goal. Of course, it was a very important part of the build-up. So the first is there was a foul on him. It's supposed to be a foul.
I just want to say something small on VAR. I don't think there's any problem with VAR because why is it a problem that a referee can get a better look at the game?
Yeah, okay.
So if there's problems with VAR, it's from the officials themselves. Yes. It's human error because all you're adding is the chance for someone to review their decision. Absolutely. And make a more informed decision. Yeah. That in its as a concept shouldn't be a bad thing, but it's clear that
because personally, what the problem I have is bad refereeing because there was an instance where I think the game with Nottingham Forest and
that was a very hard.
That was a bad call because if you're a referee, just at where the event happened, and you tell me that you didn't see that this was not a red card, I'm surprised you don't need VAR to give that because if you are closer to the action, it should be easier for you, the referee, to make the right call. And it was very close to the action and made the wrong judgment. And those are situations that I have a problem with because I expect the referee to be very decisive in such situations. But you don't need a VAR to help you in such a situation because you're close to the action. You should be able to make the right call, and that's why you're a referee. So you can't take the work from the referee and give it to the VAR. There's still a responsibility on the referee in the game to make the right call, and that is where I have the problem with because I expect that there are certain decisions that I felt that the referee could be able to make properly in the game, not referring to the VAR.
Smooth. Let's go for this quick commercial break. When we return, there's a bit more we'd have to talk about. To Scorecard here on Citi TV. I am Bernard Abeko. Interestingly, we'd have to quickly go for that highlights from the Liverpool-Arsenal game and that of Wolves and Chelsea. So when we return, we'll get into the discussion. I know you'll be wondering why I'm laughing, but I mean, we have to go into the discussions quickly. Anytime I watch Chelsea, it's quite fun, and of course, what's been happening in the studio as well. Let me come to you for the Liverpool-Arsenal game, Graham.
Well, I think it was a brilliant performance from both teams in a sense because they both showed character, they both showed that they are hungry. For me, I'll say Liverpool are exceeding expectations this season, but they have a problem. None of the other attackers are performing. You see, it's only Salah and to a certain extent Trent. Let's add him as an attacker in the sense that he's making things happen for them in terms of goals and assists.
That's true.
But for us now, I believe that this is a team that can win the title. I mean, they drew here last season as well, but I believe that this performance, they were a bit more. Last season, they went 2-0 up and they kind of collapsed, threw it away. This season was a harder game. It wasn't as easy, but they still showed their quality. But I would say in the long term, Zinchenko has to go. I believe he's right now. And it's not disrespectful, but you can use him for certain situations. If you are playing a team that you know you have 70%.
In the build up to Salah's goal, you thought it.
I believe he failed in 2 ways. I believe when the ball came over the top, if he had positioned his body a bit better, he could have kind of headed it or made it difficult for the ball to get to Salah. I think he could have done that with better positioning. I mean, fair enough. But then when he got into the box too, I think he made it a bit easy for Salah to kind of just cut in and get the finish. And like I said, Salah he's inevitable. If you play FPL, you know that every game there's a goal or assist for Salah. You know that kind of thing. He's always making things happen. But right now, his teammates are really letting him down. We are not seeing Darwin Núñez. We are not seeing Cody Gakpo. Luis Diaz now has got injured as well. Jota is injured. So things are difficult for Liverpool going forward. And Arsenal, for me, they're not creating as many chances as they did last year, but they're a bit more solid defensively, which is also important. And I don't see Man City kind of making up the ground, making a run on the two teams. So I believe it's going to be between Arsenal and Liverpool for the title. So to be a very interesting season. But I believe that City, I believe they're out of it this year. But they may surprise me still. But right now, I'm not counting on them.
So the boys are right. Arsenal are lonely at the top. But let's move from there and talk about the Wolves-Chelsea game, Dennis.
Yeah, Project FC.
That's Chelsea.
Oh yes, because you see, personally,
it reminds me of primary school. Every day I get some projects.
You know the funny part is that I'm actually into project management, and when I see this project, I don't see to see. You do see light.
You don't see direction.
No, I don't see direction. You do see light. You know, because this until there's a change, this project. Listen, give these players another 2 seasons. This team will not explode. Basically,
if you give them 2 more seasons, they will not happen.
They will not. And I'm saying that, and it's even more sad because they spent £1 million.
$1 billion.
£1 billion on this team.
When they spend $1 million, it will be a good job.
They spent £1 billion on this team, and they've done, and the issues have not been fixed. And let's be honest, I heard Pochettino talk about the fact that he needed to make signings. That's the truth.
In January.
They need to, because
but that's crazy after $1 billion spent.
That is the funny part, because if you want to accept the fact that you are spending some amount of money, so you expect these young players to blossom. Listen, me and you know, a lot of the Chelsea players are average. Let's be honest with that. And I believe in giving players time. But trust me, when you watch a player and you see the indicators that this player will be better, you will see some of the Chelsea players will not get better. And that's a fact. So I am just saying that this team still needs to be tinkered with. They still need to get in a few players. And I think that there are so many young players who are in there, but there's no experience in there to guide them. So if you're going to say that because you are doing a project, you want to give it time, give it 2 seasons, trust me, the next 2 seasons, Chelsea will be in the relegation zone.
Interesting analysis there, you know, from Dennis Nyeku, and of course you heard earlier on from Graham Sosu. Interesting how they've, you know, digest the English Premier League just in some few seconds. This is where we'll draw the curtains on the show. You know, we'll be coming your way again next week. This is Scorecard. You know, make sure you put the time down. We'll come your way every Sunday, every other Sunday between 9 and, of course, it stretches on to 10:30. We'll be giving you exclusives and more. I'm Bernard Abeko Ochre. Sports is life. Do get involved.